Well, that was sure underwhelming now, wasn't it? Two straight losses we have here. Sixers lose 106 to 104. Sloppy, 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 sloppy. And that's what could be said for this road trip out west. It's none of these games have been pretty. We were able to eke that game out in Portland, but ever since then, this team has just looked like shit. We lost to the two corniest teams. You lose to a young Phoenix team, and then you come into Utah. You get your All Star player back. You get your best player back in Joel Embiid after that 2-game suspension, and he looked like he was struggling a little bit with his conditioning. That's going to be the story of Joel Embiid. Especially when he doesn't play every single game, you're going to get that sluggish feeling. I was hoping he'd be in a little bit better shape, but he wasn't. That wasn't the issue, though. He hadn't played in a week, and we just lost. We lost to this inferior freaking Jazz team. And I hate seeing us lose to teams like this because we shouldn't. Ben Simmons goes out with the injury. The offense was just stagnant. Horford and Tobias shot 7 of 25 from the both of them, so they were both off tonight. We couldn't buy a bucket. They beat us on the boards, which usually never happens because I think we're one of the best, if not the best, rebounding team in the NBA. And they beat us by 8, 50 to 42. And then they beat us points in the paint. I mean, it was just extra effort on the Jazz there at the end. You just saw them getting to the ball a lot quicker. This team just looked completely lethargic out there. It was very boring to watch. There wasn't a lot of ball movement going on. It was a lot of settling for jumpers. Now, in the first quarter, I was happy to see that they were attacking the basket. That's what we want to look for. You want to get to the charity stripe, get them in foul trouble. Make them change their defensive sets, adjust their game plan, which we started to do. And then here comes the second quarter. We get away from going to the cup, and we turn into a jump shooting team, which is not what we are. That is not our formula. We were going down low to Embiid in the beginning. He had a quick 18 points in the first half, and then he didn't score his first point in the second half until late mid to the fourth quarter. That cannot happen. I understand you want to get others involved. Toby, again, was settling for a lot of jumpers. I felt like he should have put his head down and went to the cup. Now, that's on, and I get that Embiid likes to work down low. And when Embiid, pardon me, when Embiid, went cold, so to speak, he was hovering around the perimeter. That is on Brett Brown to try to figure out how to get these guys playing together and where you don't have everything jammed up in the middle. I felt we were a very predictable offense tonight. They knew what we were going to do. They just threw a lot of double teams at us, and we kept fumbling the ball around, turning the ball over, and crucial. Like, look at that last play even. We needed a miracle with 6.2 left, and they threw it into Josh, who I thought played outstanding tonight. He would be player of the game tonight, in my opinion. That's the Josh Richardson I've been looking for. I thought he looked outstanding tonight, and I can hope he continues to play like that. Play aggressive, play stingy defense, get into the passing lanes, score that way. He went 2 of 6 from downtown. He's a streaky shooter, but that's what I want to see out of Josh Richardson. Attack the cup. But that, like I was saying before, towards that end, they wasted all that time. And the play before that, there wasn't even like a play drawn up. He cut baseline and went to go pass, but he kind of got hung in the air because there was nobody there. There was just nobody moving. It was a lot of watch Joel get the ball in the post and everybody standing around. It was just stagnant offense. And you can't win basketball games like that. You want to go to the championship. You want everything to go through Philly. You've got to win games like this. You've got to beat up on teams that are inferior than you. When we played Utah last year, we beat them by like at least 17 points. It was ugly. I thought Raul Neto came in and did an okay job spelling Ben, who, sprained his AC joint in his shoulder. But this is where you see the lack of shooting kind of hurt you altogether. There's just no shooting. This team really can't play from behind. Defense, once in a while, as we saw in that Portland game, is going to be able to get you back into it, but just it sucks, man. It sucks. We're 5-2. We're going to Denver on Friday. We're gonna not know what Ben's status is, and was this a big reason why the offense was stagnant? Kind of hard to say, but Raul playing 30 minutes. I think he's a defensive liability being on the smaller end, but they killed us with the pick and roll all night. Like, I felt like they ran, yeah, Crawford's still available. They ran like 2 or 3 plays the entire game. They just murdered us, murdered us on the pick and roll. And that just seems to be the tale of Brett Brown coach teams. Pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. He's so late to make adjustments that it's like... And I felt like this game was decided in the third quarter, too, because we scored 17 points. 17 points! That cannot happen. God. Call a timeout. Do something. Change it up. Personnel. Like, I realized we really didn't even see James Innes in there for a little bit. He spelled... What was he in there for 2 or 3 minutes? I mean, and you're right, exactly. They can't keep going over the pick and roll. It's just, it leaves it wide open, too, when they're going to leave Donovan Mitchell out there on Neto. It just leaves the lanes wide open. He's going to break the defense down, and it just leaves both lanes wide open. So they're either going to cut, and then the defender's going to come over to help, and then they're going to either lob it or pass it and get the easy bucket. I mean, it's just simple offense. And that's where Brett Brown's pardon me. Inefficiency, I can't even say it. That's where his issues come in. Our offense is like 2016 Thunder team when they played hero ball. Embiid standing at the three-point line. I hate it. And he took 5 threes tonight. I want to see Joel taking maybe 2 tops. I thought he fell in love with that because he started to get tired, and we know when Joel starts to get really lethargic and tired, he falls in love with the jumper. He doesn't want to go down there and bang, and Rudy Gobert made him work, but come on. Rudy Gobert is a one-trick pony. He's a big, long guy who cannot defend Embiid on his best day, and they should have just kept going to him nonstop until they triple-teamed Embiid. But again, you got no shooter, so it kind of makes it difficult. But you should have kept that same game plan as they did in the first quarter. Continue to get to the free throw line, get them in foul trouble, get your points that way. Now, we were pretty exceptional on the free throw line. Sucks when the game's on the line, you miss those 2 crucial free throws when Joel did and Toby. But, you can't really... I'm not going to kill them for that. They went 30-34, 88% from... the charity stripe, but they should have continued to keep going to that well, especially if the offense was that stagnant. So now we look forward to playing Jokic and Jamal Murray. We have problems with these quicker guards that can shoot. So you had Mitchell go off on us, not as bad as Booker did, but he had 24 points tonight. I thought he was pretty sensational. And you got Jamal Murray who can shoot lights out too. And it's going to be big old Jokic versus Embiid, who, again, we're going to be at higher altitude. He's not in game shape quite yet, and he's had problems with his stamina and keeping in shape, as we know. Game time conditioning. So he's going to really have to work hard. And we don't know the status of Ben Simmons, so is Raul going to be running point for 30-plus minutes, or... For some reason, I don't know why Brett doesn't want to go to Trey Burke at all. But I felt like he should have thrown in there, maybe split the minutes 15 and 15. But the rotations tonight was making me scratch my head. I didn't get it at all. So I'm throwing this loss on Brett, Toby, not going to attack Al. I mean, he was getting good looks. The ball was just not falling. I mean, I don't think Utah is all that great. They're okay, but I think we should have dominated them. It's like you don't know what team you're going to get with the Sixers, because you look at them, they came out firing 5-0. That defense was stingy. They were taking over games. I mean, in these last two games, and I would even say against Portland. But that defense got them back, and they were able to get that win because of the defense. But these last two games, that defense has been trash. I think it's been awful. And it seems like what was fueling this team and what this team is built on is that defense is starting to be a little bit of an Achilles heel. Teams are starting to watch tape, figures out a little bit. But that's all about in-game adjustments, which Brett Brown has major issues doing. The Jazz always the team that plays okay, and then after New Year, play like one of the best teams in the league. Pick and roll defense is bad. It's been bad ever since Brett's been here. Also thought Jazz had a lot of illegal screens. Yeah, it did seem like the whistles were being held with the Jazz because they called that BS travel on Joel. I think they missed a couple foul calls when Josh was hitting the back. I think JoJo got fouled a couple times where the whistles were silent. And then they were getting like bogus calls on the Sixers. And I don't want to be one of those fans that are like, oh, they're picking on the Sixers. But it seems like game in and game out, it's starting to become a trend a little bit. Call fair game. None of this ticky-tack shit. If you're going to call it one side, call it both ways. But, you know, it sucks. We got that close, and the Sixers couldn't even foul there at the end. Like, they let so much clock bleed, and they were just running around. It's like they wanted this game to end. It's like they didn't know what to do. I saw Joe run out, and he didn't want to foul him because it would have been a sixth foul. He felt like he was too important to the team, and if he did foul out and it somehow did get an OT or whatever, who knows what would have happened because I was struggling tonight. But you got a big task facing Denver on Friday. You know, we needed some home cooking instantly, but if you want to make it deep in the playoffs and you, again, want to be top seed and have everything go through Philly, you want to have home court. We want everything to run through Philly. You got to be able to win on the road and extensively, not just 500 on the road. You want to at least be 10 or 15 games above 500 on the road if you're considered or want to be considered a championship caliber team. And it looked like it earlier in the season. It's a long season, 82 games, but it seems like we've been figured out just a little bit. And we need to make some adjustments. Now, there's going to be injuries throughout the season, adversities that we're going to have to overcome. So we can't really hang our hat on that and look for excuses with Simmons not being able to be aggressive on the offensive end, and then Joel Embiid not being in conditioned shape, not being in game shape. That's been the two storylines of each player throughout their early careers. Harris not playing like 180 million. I'm not going to attack Toby, okay? I thought he's been okay up until tonight's game. He looked like shit tonight. But the first 6 games, I thought he's played pretty well. So I'm not going to kill him. I think it took him a little too long to start going. We needed him to get going more into the second quarter and not wait for the fourth because he only ended up with 15 points. But that's because he kept settling for his jumper, and when his jumper's not falling, I mean, he's not a knockdown shooter like a Donovan Mitchell or Booker or Jamal Murray. I feel he's more of a rhythm shooter, you know? He's got to see a couple go down before he starts growing that confidence. But I felt like he should have started attacking that rim earlier, kind of like Josh Richardson was doing. It just didn't get going. Brett, I felt like should have gotten his ear, and that's on him, though, to be able to have these players out on the court together and draw up an offensive game plan. You know, Joe's going to eat up a lot of the paint because of the dominance as he has down there on the post. But, again, that's up to Brett to mix and match and have certain players playing together, and that falls on the coaching. He seems afraid to take over. JoJo? Nah. Remember, it's his first game back. He hasn't played in a week. So that conditioning is not tip-top, plus you're at high elevation. If you're not used to playing that all the time, that's a big factor too. So that's 2 things working against you. I'm not going to get on too much either. I noticed he's been more aggressive on our team. Yeah, he has. And I'm not worried about Toby. I thought he was worth the money that we paid him. I think he has that ability to be the guy in crunch time to take that last minute shot to be the big shot maker. Um, it just took him a little too long to go, and tonight he just wasn't on. It happens. I'm not going to kill him for it. Um, you know, I thought nobody played well other than Josh Richardson. I think Korkmaz got exposed tonight on the defensive end. Bogdanovich really freaking, oh man, he killed him a bunch of times. He was just trailing the entire time. So, but that was to be expected. He's not a showstopper on the defensive end. Yeah, that's what I mean. The rotations tonight were a head scratcher. You didn't see James Ennis barely. I think he was in for 2 or 3 minutes. Mike Scott was barely in there. I didn't get the rotation tonight from Brett Brown and the coaches. It was just like very mind-boggling to you didn't. It's like you wanted him to call a timeout when he should have. He didn't. You wanted him to continuously keep doing what they did in the first quarter, and then they, for some reason, started to just fall in love with the jumper. And they did that throughout 2 quarters. There just wasn't a lot of in-game adjustments. And we've seen this from Brett time and time again since he's been here for 7 years. There's no more excuses for Brett Brown. I was kind of surprised when they brought him back, but they wanted to give him a full team, and we know the storyline, and there's no more excuses for him. Did Ben Simmons get hurt in the game? Yes, he did get hurt in the game. He was going up against a defender, and he threw his shoulder into the defender. I think it was Patrice O'Neal. Like, not Patrice O'Neal. That's that's a comedian. O'Neal. I'm not sure that dude's name. And he felt maybe something pop, and then they took him out. I was wondering, I was like, are they benching him or what happened? And then they finally said that it was a shoulder injury. Also, they got under the screen, not over. That's how you get burnt. Yeah, but they've been doing that for the longest time, dude. They haven't learned from day one about that. They continuously make the same mistakes with the screen game, and that's why pick and roll is so effective against us. Tom, haven't really had any confirmation on the severity of it. Hopefully it's not too bad. He can heal over the next day. They said AC sprain in the shoulder. Royce O'Neal, thank you. Yeah, Patrice O'Neal was on my mind. If y'all know who he is, he's a funny comedian. Go check him out. I'm looking forward to seeing when we play the Heat to see Jimmy Butler, and I think they will put Winslow at point guard. Yeah, Heat are cooking right now. I believe they're 5-2 as well. Are you sold on Elton putting a team together? Yeah, I like Elton Brand. I think he's a very good GM. I think he has the capacity to do so. Look at the team he's put out there. I still believe we need more shooting. And there was rumblings around after that game about Ben Simmons and what his state. Now, this is mostly probably just clickbait and something to talk about Ben Simmons being traded and what they're going to do with him. Can they stick with Ben Simmons being the point guard of this team? Can they be a championship caliber team with Ben Simmons at the point guard? But that's going to have to be a decision that Elton and the Sixers brass sit down to think about. If he is the point guard to lead them to a championship, sometimes you have to make drastic moves, whether it's a fan favorite or not. Look what the Raptors did with DeMar DeRozan. Look at how much success they had with him and Kyle Lowry with that backcourt. And yes, it was for Kawhi Leonard, even though it was a rental. You got rid of probably one of the most favorite and most respected players other than, Vince Carter, up there in Toronto. Beloved, fan favorite. They got rid of him. He had a lot of success up there, but they won a championship by getting rid of him. So, still early. Way too early to be talking about that. I'm hoping Ben can all prove us all wrong and get out of this mental slump that he's in and show us what he's all capable of, because he's got immense talent. Immense amount of talent. I think it has a lot to do with his mental state and not having confidence. No, we did not win, bro. 106-104 loss. We were down most of the game. Again. I mean, we fought back a couple times, just we weren't able to secure the win. It was sloppy turnovers and bad decision making. Yep, we're now 5-2. And then we have Denver to look forward to on Friday. It is early, but I'm concerned because we've seen this since the series against the Celtics. With Ben Simmons, I know. And you all know how I felt about Ben Simmons ever since 2016 during the draft. Now, I've been waiting for him to prove me wrong for so long. What can we do to improve our shooting? We got to go out and get shooters, bro. Melo's not the answer. I would call Crawford. Guy can hit big shots. He's old. He would cost nothing but the league minimum. The league vet minimum. And you have to get more shooting on here to be able to, pace and space. Because that's where Ben Simmons excels, is in the transition game. Ben reminds me a lot of Andy Reid without Brett play calling. Yeah. Andy Reid and Doug Peterson, right? Ingram hasn't worked that well, though. You talking about Brandon Ingram? I don't know, man. The kid scores the basketball. I've seen his game excel each year since he's been in the league. He can shoot. He's put on a little bit of weight. Coming out, that was the big thing. They didn't know if he was going to be strong enough to take on bigger guys in the NBA, but I've seen him drop a lot of points. Depends what you're talking about considered better. I wish Ben would become Giannis, but I don't think he cares enough. That's the other thing. It doesn't seem like he takes... And I don't want to make this into an attacking Ben video whatsoever. But there are concerns about what Ben Simmons can become. You know what he can do in the transition game. He's got great vision. He's improved defensively immensely. He's a very good defender. He can rebound, but it's his toughness and his ability to score in a half-court offense. And what is he? Is he a power forward? Is he a point guard? You're not really a floor general if you can't work a half-court offense and you can't shoot the ball or choose not to shoot the ball. That is always going to linger. And all this talk about him shooting and not shooting, it wouldn't matter if he would be aggressive on the offensive end and just put his head down and go to the rack. But I feel like he's scared. He doesn't want to get hit. He doesn't want to go to the free throw line. He's worried about that. I don't know what it is. It's a phenomenon. I feel like the Sixers have had the weirdest turn of events since the process has started with their draft picks. You had Nerlens Noel, you had Jahlil Okafor with the whole weight thing, and that whole weight thing turned out to be him having an allergy. About him being all heavy when he was here. It was a food allergy, turns out. And then you have the food allergy with Zaire Smith, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. I mean, everything is attached to each one of our first-round draft picks since the process has kicked off. MCW, if you want to toss him in there. Him winning Rookie of the Year? Is that what you mean? I mean, he really didn't have any weird injuries. He kind of just sucked. And the only reason he won Rookie of the Year, we all know those accolades they don't mean anything. Most of them are popularity contests and aren't, based off of factual stuff. So it's kind of hard to judge that type of shit. Let's not forget the time when Embiid used to shoot threes decently to where he didn't have a headache. Yeah, and that falls into the type of offense that I feel like Brett likes to run because he loves to shoot the three ball. And I know Joel has even come out in public record and said he hates shooting the threes, especially all the time. But the chance for us to win is now. There's no more waiting. That's why everybody wants to see the growth of Ben Simmons. It's not like he's a rookie anymore and we're looking towards the future. The future is now. We've invested a lot of money in the players that we have. There's no more waiting. You need to jump start your development and be displaying it on the court. Like, you need to be going now. You've got that contract, which I didn't think was deserved. I didn't want to pay him $180 million because he really didn't show me enough to earn that. So what is going to give him that incentive, now that he's got that contract, to develop his game even further? He says all the right things in the media. He gets defensive when reporters ask him about the whole shooting thing. So it's a big question mark. It really is. And we have to see what this team can do down the stretch with Ben Simmons, if that game's going to improve. Because when Embiid's out, you expect Simmons to kind of take over, because he's done it once before, earlier when Embiid was out with the knee injury. If you remember when he tore the MCL in his knee, he was dominant. We've even seen it in the playoff game against Brooklyn where he went off for 30, but he disappears in big games. I mean, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And then when he does have a bad game, he doesn't own up to it. He doesn't seem like he puts the blame on himself or that he's responsible for any of the loss. Tobias playing too inconsistent for a max contract player. You mean tonight? You're gonna judge him off of the one game? I don't think so. Players have. What do you mean in general? In 6 games, he's been really good. Other than tonight, I have no complaints about Tobias Harris. What is there to complain about, though? What do you want him to do? He's averaging 20 points a game. Other than tonight, I thought he's been pretty good. And he's even upped his defensive ability. Trade Simmons for a point guard that can shoot. As much of a Ben hater as I am, I'm not ready to throw the towel in on the kid just yet. Even though it frustrates the hell out of me when I see him play. And it sucks because the first game of the season, he didn't look like the player that we were so used to seeing. He was the total opposite. So I thought he had turned over a new leaf, and everything he was telling the media and all the workout videos and blah, 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 blah. I thought they finally, he was ready to display his true talents. It's just he got stuck. He just falls into the same routine. J. Rich, I'm happy. I thought he struggled a little bit in the beginning of the season, but you got to take into account he's on a new team. He's trying to feel his way onto this new team as well, onto the new offense. He's not top dog like he was in Miami. He probably maybe doesn't want to step on any toes, but what I saw out of J. Rich tonight, I want to continuously see that because that's the type of player he is. Just play like you did down in Miami, man. Everything will be gravy. He was the one bright spot in tonight's loss. Defense, getting into passing lanes, being aggressive, and I feel like during this game too, that Raul Neto should not have been on Mitchell at all. You should have had J. Rich follow him throughout the whole game. Like, he's able to body up bigger point guards because Mitchell's big. He's 6'3", 215. You put a lengthy guard on him like J. Rich that's going to be pesky and bother him. I mean, that's one guy you have to worry about on Utah. He can create for himself. He creates for other players. He's their one bright spot. That's what I mean. Like, they're not that good of a team. You kind of take him out. Same with Phoenix. You try to eliminate Booker from going off for 40. You have a great chance of winning. Cut that in half. But Gobert had deep position tonight on JoJo, which sucks. All he does is dunk. And then Joe Ingles, I saw a couple times they were doubling him. Are you freaking kidding me? The dude's white. You don't need to double him. He's white. Let's be real. He looks like a bum that's been stuck at a Fish concert for the past 10 years. Good God. Joe Ingles. You serious? God. Dude, it's corny. Can't believe we lost to that team. Bogdanovich also looks like a bum, but he gets bucket. Bogdanovich does look like a bum, but he's good. I'll give him credit. He can put the ball on the floor. He can shoot. Joe Ingles he does, I don't know. He's corny. I don't think he's that good. You know, I feel like he's a utility player. He shoots some threes. He can handle the ball a little bit, but he doesn't impress me. I feel like we didn't need to double him at times. All the Jazz games I watch, I've never seen Ingles dribble as much as he did tonight. Why? I don't know why Trey Burke's not getting any minutes. I have no idea. It just seems maybe Brett feels more comfortable going with Raul Neto because he's more of a traditional point guard than Trey Burke. You look at Trey Burke, he's more maybe along the lines of a combo guard. And maybe he doesn't know how to run the offense. I just don't think Brett has enough confidence in Burke. But you can't gain any confidence if he doesn't play any minutes. You got to throw him into some game situations. I would have liked to seen them split time, Neto and Burke tonight. Like maybe do Raul 18 minutes, give Trey Burke maybe 10 to 12, or just split it down the middle, 15 and 15. Because Neto got, 30 minutes tonight? And I don't like when they have J. Rich play point. I know he did it down in Miami. It's just, he did it when he was at Tennessee in college. I don't like it. Zaires, he's with the Bluecoats. That's where he's going to be until he shows them that he's ready to play on an NBA team. Matisse, man. I know he's been good in the first early games. His offensive game is god-awful, though. He's a rookie, so don't want to kill him completely. It's a lot faster game when you come into the big leagues. So, but when he drives to the cup, he gets so nervous and he turns the ball over. We've seen it, 2 games where he went for the reverse layup, completely missed it, switched hands, hit the front of the rim twice, and then tonight, he just threw the ball away looking for a cutter. Do you miss any of the guys from last year? No, I don't. Maybe TJ a little, because he was kind of like a glue guy, energy guy, but not really. I wasn't really sad. We retained the guys I wanted us to. Mike Scott, awesome to keep. We needed a guy like that. Grit, energy, can shoot the 3 ball. You and Adrian are a few people I look up to. Start a YouTube channel. Appreciate it, man. Do it up. Follow your passion. Because it seems like talent carries coaching and management. What do you mean by that? That disappeared too quick for me to read it. I apologize. But we knew coming into this year that shooting was going to be an issue. I know there was a lot of half-glass full guys out there that thought we would be able to get by with Toby and Scott, and they were real high on J. Rich coming over here and shooting a high percentage from 3. I didn't think so. I think he's a below-average 3-point shooter. And I don't even know what he's shooting on the season, but it's got to be around 29, 30%. Well, if they had. I do miss Shamet, but you have to give to get. So it was worth to give Shamet up for Tobias Harris. We just gave who away? Shamet? No, we didn't. Got Tobias Harris for him. I feel like people sleep on Tobias Harris. I feel like he gets no love. He's a very good player. Like a really good player. He's young. He's got a lot of offensive talent. He's not the greatest defender, but he can score buckets. Who would you have rather paid the max to? Do you think Ben Simmons was more worthy of getting a max contract over Tobias Harris? Because I don't. In what way? In what way, Ari? Why is Ben Simmons more deserving? And please don't tell me because he's been to an all-star game. Yeah, I wanted Jimmy too. I wanted Jimmy to stay, but there was bad blood between him and the front office, between him and the coaching. He's a firecracker. Um, you know, sparky personality. Doesn't like to be told what to do. He likes to do his own thing. He's a bit of an introvert, which is fine. You kind of question giving a guy around his age that type of max money. That's why I wanted to give it to Toby. Because he's a lot younger. He was 5 years younger than Jimmy. So, but it is what it is. We can't really fret on it now, Jimmy. And look what happened last year with all those guys that need to have the rock in their hand to be able to be effective. I love Ben, but he is soft. Jimmy was good for Embiid. Yep. Ben is soft. Kind of surprising from a guy from Australia, too. They're usually rugged, tough guys. Except Joe Ingles. He's still stuck at a Fish concert. Wait, you don't like Ben? I'm not a big Ben fan, though. He's good. I don't think he's a superstar, though. I don't think he's great. I think he's a little overrated. Yeah, he did. I didn't think he deserved that contract, is all I'm saying. I wanted to see growth in his game before they just threw $180 million at him. So, I don't think he has a position. I don't believe he's a true point guard. He's great in transition, but it just goes back to what I've been saying over and over and over and over again, is he's not aggressive enough. He doesn't seek out contact. When you're that big, you should be going to the rim constantly, getting them in foul trouble. Go to the line. Get your points that way. I'm not going to attack you for not shooting. My main thing is if you were going to the rim and getting to the charity stripe, people wouldn't be on you as much about the shooting thing. So, I would rather have Ben score like 16, 18 points rather than getting 15 rebounds, 13 assists, and like 7 steals. I don't care about him getting 7 steals. That stat doesn't do shit for me. Whatever. If he would have scored 15 points last game, we would have won. I'm not going to put that loss solely on him, but he disappeared. You're making too much money to score 6 points. What type of air goes on in Philly when it comes to... put that up again, man. So, they got to just reset. It's a long season. Just this team doesn't look like a championship caliber team. You still need shooting. And we're there. We are so close. He hasn't changed his ability to be better than Giannis, but he has the Fultz mentality. I was saying what type of air goes on that causes strange injuries. I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with that injury. I don't know if it's just the way he turned and hit it on O'Neal or what it is. It looked maybe like a slight sprain. People are saying out there saying it was a hoax. Yeah, he wasn't good tonight, Al. He couldn't buy a bucket, but he's been sensational the first couple games. First 6 games, he was outstanding. I mean, he literally almost willed us to a win last game with 32 points. I'm from Philly. They just soft. They are. And that's a reflection of coaching. Best looking team in the NBA right now. I like the Nito guy. Yeah, Nito's a good solid backup. Definitely. He's awesome. He knows how to run. He's a true floor general. But the best looking team, I'd have to say, I'm liking how Denver's looked. Trying to think. I haven't really been able to watch too much basketball. You still got to look out for the. I really like Dallas too. Nah, I don't. I've been saying this for a couple years. I don't think Brett Brown is the guy to take us to the to the glory lands to hoist up that golden trophy. I don't think Brett has what it takes. Thibault's my favorite player this season. Wow, really? Why? I mean, he's been okay. I like his ability to play, get into the passing lanes. He's a rookie though. He's making some rookie mistakes, so he's okay. He's fun to watch in transition when he's, not too much up here. Thibault stinks. Good on defense, but can't shoot worth a lick. That's why I didn't want to draft him either. That's what killed me in the draft. We had all these draft picks. I was hoping we were going to package them up and jump up to get a shooter in the draft like Tyler Herro. So I really wanted on this team. But they went more defense for a guy that struggled to shoot. And you're seeing that here. Same when we drafted Zaire Smith. Should have took Michael Porter Jr. And we took a guy that can't shoot. And he's not even in the NBA right now. He's with the D-League. So you kind of question some of this stuff. But the draft's a crapshoot. Nobody's a guaranteed bank. You don't know who's going to turn out, who's going to develop, who's going to be what. But I'm thinking this injury with Ben, I believe he's going to be okay. I'm ready to go for this Denver game. Hopefully they ice it up by the time they get to Denver. Maybe he can heal it. A little herbal. A little puff when he's out there in Denver. Great channel. Brett Brown, trash. Ben Simmons, trash. I'm not saying Ben Simmons is trash. I'm not sitting up here and trying to say that all. I hope that's not what's being portrayed here. I think Ben Simmons is a very good player. I just don't believe he was worth the amount of money that we paid him. Brett Brown isn't the brightest of coaches, especially under the tutelage of Popovich. You thought you'd see a little bit more. But, he's on the hot seat for sure this season. I thought he was on the hot seat the past 2 years, but seems to get overlooked when you win 52 games. And they were very close last year. You saw growth from Brett Brown. So, I'm hoping he can get us there. I don't know. I think we have a good GM, but he's going to have to make another move. I like Dallas. We should got Porzingis. Tough. Like, what would you have given up for Porzingis? We didn't have anything worthy. Dallas gave up a bunch of first-round picks. NBA's funky like that, and Luka Doncic is a beast. Like Dallas, we should have got Porzingis when he was available and draft Michael Porter Jr. Shooting fixed. Yeah, I mean, it's easy for us to kind of sit up here and say that stuff, but both parties have to be willing. Mark Cuban's a master of the phones. Working it, you've seen him do it year in and year out. That's why Dallas, they haven't been as good as they have in the years past when they had Dirk, but they've got two young European studs right now in Luka and Porzingis, and they look like they're back. They're awesome. They are very fun to watch. And with this new NBA, kind of like all sports have adapted, football with constant passing, lots of scoring, baseball with the juiced baseballs and lots of home runs. The NBA has curtailed to lots of three-point shooting. Yeah, we had the Heat pick. We gave it up to get Tobias Harris. Imagine if we drafted Porzingis instead of Okafor. Yeah, but again, the draft's a crapshoot. You don't know how anybody's going to turn out. You look at Okafor and you thought, oh man, he could be the next Tim Duncan. Hasn't turned out. When he was here, he was overweight, or what we thought to be was him not being in shape, but it was a food allergy all those years. Weird, huh? We could have did the Harris deal for Porzingis. Yeah, but you don't know how Porzingis' knee is going to hold up. They waited 2 years on him. We just weren't in that position. Dallas could wait for him because they weren't in win-now mode. We're in win-now mode. They had more attractive picks because they weren't that good of a team. I don't know what the protections are on those picks. or if they were unprotected. I can't remember off the top of my head what that deal was. Because remember, they also traded with Atlanta to get Luka Doncic. They jumped up a couple spots. They gave up picks in that, I believe, as well. Yeah, well, remember we drafted Bridges, then traded down, gave up, or no, we obtained a pick. That's how we got the Miami pick, and got Zaire Smith. Passed on Michael Porter. Michael Porter went 14th overall, I believe, in that draft. And they had to wait on him. I think we could have waited on him. But you don't know how those injuries are going to pan out. He's a very injury-prone guy, kind of like Joel Embiid all over again. He's had major back injuries for a kid only being 18 years old. All right, guys. Any more questions? I'll answer one or two more. I'll get to the final. We get wrecked by the Claw again. We don't know if the Clippers, they probably will be in the mix. I hope they get it over the Lakers because I can't stand them. But, yeah, if it was us first, the Clippers, I don't see us winning just because they have a way better coach. They have a way better bench. And they have shooting. Lots of it. Lots of shooting. So he's going to have to work his magic again. EB needs to get on the phone lines and pull a rabbit out of his ass because it might have to come down to us possibly trading Ben Simmons to acquire some shooting. Wouldn't that be awesome if we gave up Simmons for Booker, even though it never would happen? I think Simmons would pair better with DeAndre Ayton than Booker and Ayton. Let's get him out of Phoenix. Let's get him over here. Will Ben show up? I hope. If not, we are done. Yeah, it rides on the shoulders of that Aussie right there. Without him, we need him to come up big and play big to win a championship. We'd have to give up picks in the Booker trade. You think? For Ben? You don't think they'd do Ben straight up for Booker? I don't know, man. Probably not. And then Trey Burke, since we don't play him anyways, toss him in there. Just throw him in there as a consolation prize. Here's Trey Burke. Nah, but I hope Brett somehow does work him in the rotation. I like to see what he can bring to the table. Crazy that draft that Booker fell all the way to 13th, isn't it? I believe in this year's draft, Tyler Herro could be not on the same level as Booker, but I think he could become a very good player that fell way too late. I thought he was like top 10 worthy at least. Even maybe top 6. So, Sixers lose a ugly one. But that all falls. Was it because Ben Simmons got hurt and the offense was out of funk because of him? Or was it because, we shot poorly, 41% overall, only hit 8 threes. We shot poorly from downtown, like we usually do night in and night out. But it's about in-game adjustment, guys. They didn't stick with the same game plan. Quinn started to double Embiid and pushed it in the half-court offense. They pushed it on to double teaming guys, and we became very predictable. I think it had more to do with that rather than Ben Simmons being out. Yes, having your floor general be out is a huge thing, but we got away from what our signature is, and that's bully ball. We need to feed it to Embiid in the post, get to the charity stripe like we did in the first quarter, and ride with it. Keep doing it until they make adjustments. If it's not broke, why fix it? We've been seeing it the past 3 nights with the pick and roll. Why would you change it if it keeps working? Just continuously keep doing it until they can't do it no more. Seems simple enough, right? Well, we're going to have a big task come Friday night. High elevation. You got Jokic, big-bodied guy. Embiid's not going to be able to bully him. And then you got 2 guards that are able to shoot anywhere on the court, and Gary Harris and Jamal Murray, who is another budding star in our league. And the Sixers have major issues with guards, with quick guards that are able to shoot from anywhere, especially from downtown. You get down big with these guys, this Sixers team is not built to come back from a big deficit, you know? We're more along the lines of a team like, I'll use the analogy here. In the NFL, it's a passing league, right? We are like a team that has time of possession and runs the ball nonstop and maybe hits us with a play action from time to time. That is what this Sixers team is. It's built off of a good defense, and you do all the little things right. You know, we're not really a high explosive offense because we don't have that ability to really pace and space. Don't hit a lot of threes. Don't have a lot of three-point shooting on the squad. So we have to be like the Patriots and just do our job. Be in the right place at the right time. I wish we had a coach like Belichick, but we don't. So it's going to be a fun battle. Jokic versus Embiid. Battle for the best center of the league. I'm hoping JoJo doesn't flutter out like he did tonight. But it's still going to take a little bit more time for him to get acclimated into game shape. He was off for a week. We know how JoJo's conditioning is. And I hope we can pull away with a win. We need to salvage this and go 2-2 on this road trip before we're back home on November 10th against the Hornets. So, this is Kyle Gaffner with the Bitter Birds. What team's going to show up on Friday? Is it going to be the team that we saw that went 5-0? Or is it going to be the team that we saw this last 3 games on this road trip? That is the big question to be answered. All right, guys, I'm out. Peace!